Hello sim racers and welcome to a new Pit Lane Sim Racing VR video. Today we are checking out the latest build of ACC, Assetto Corsa Competizione. We are now up to early access build 0.6.1 and this build saw the release of the Monza circuit in its latest configuration, with, as you can see, no bridge as a braking marker point. That caught me out first time I loaded it up. And we got two Nissan GTRs. We got the 2015 version and the 2018. I decided to jump into the latest one, 2018, and take it out for a few hot laps around this 2018 laser scan version of the Monza circuit. And I've got to say, this title just keeps on impressing me with every build. I know it's got its issues, it's got its problems, but we're still in early access. They're still trying things out with the new Unreal Engine. But I've got faith. I'm enjoying what we've got and what they've done so far. As you can see, we are racing in VR. And yeah, it's not perfect. Still can't use a mouse and keyboard. So frustrating. You slap the headset on and then all of a sudden you've got to start fumbling around for buttons and keys, and you know, you have to load the game up in 2D first. I have a button box, so I've had to bind a load of menu options and things to the buttons on the box rather than in-car controls. It's just not very intuitive, and that for me does take away from the initial VR experience, and the fact that every time you get in the car you have got this on-screen display smack in your face, and you have to keep scrolling through the F2 key to get up a blank HUD so you can actually just enjoy the car, enjoy the information from the screen in front of you, and more importantly, enjoy the visuals of the track. Now, I know it is frustrating when you initially jump into ACC when using VR, but once you've got past those little frustrations, should we call them, I genuinely love the sense of immersion that VR gives you with this title. I've been pretty lucky that all through this early access experience since VR was introduced, was it build 2, I've not had that many performance issues. It's not as pin sharp as some other VR titles, such as Project Cars 2 or even iRacing, if you enable the sharpening options. But you know, if you're not comparing this sim directly with others, it's fine. I haven't got any real major issues or problems with it. You know, we always want better, we always want crisp, sharp visuals. I know VR has got its drawbacks. I'm using an Oculus Rift. We've got the screen door effect and, you know, all the other downsides involved with the first gen headsets, but I can make out what the dashboard in front of me says. I can pick out all the details, the brake markers. So it's good enough for me. Oh, I suppose I should, so you've got some idea what I've got hardware wise, so you can get a reference point to what sort of performance you might get. I have a Intel i7-87K, 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM, along with a Nvidia 1080 Ti graphics card. So I don't know what you would consider that to be. The higher end of the mid-range builds. It's enough for me to be able to, you know, have, I don't know, I seem to have most of the eye candy turned up somewhere between medium and high, and I haven't noticed any real big performance issues. But and as for drivers, I'm just running the latest Nvidia GeForce driver from the website. So whatever the latest one is, 417 or 419 or something like that. Now I haven't run any FPS counters, I haven't done any benchmarking. I've just turned a selection of options on that made the game look nice, jumped into VR, run it, and I've just eyeballed it. Does it give me a headache? No. Does it make me feel ill? No. Does everything seem to be just flying by me at a nice, steady, smooth, constant rate? Yeah. So, to my untrained eye and in my unscientific way of measuring VR performance, which I do across all the games that I play, if it looks good to me, I leave it alone. I'm happy with it. I don't go in there chasing the last few FPS, or, you know, trying to see what combination of graphics settings I can have on and off. I turn the ones on I want on. If it looks smooth, I leave it alone. Simple as that. To be honest with you, I just want to play the game. I don't really want to have to spend more time tweaking and fiddling than I do racing. Onto the car itself. It feels bloody fantastic. Now I'm again, just so you know the reference point where I'm coming from hardware wise, I'm running a AccuForce V1 direct drive wheel, and I have a set of Fanatec V3 load cell pedals. So again, it's, I don't know, I suppose you would consider it to be somewhere on the higher end of a mid-tier setup. I am using the standard AccuForce ACC profile that comes with the software for the wheel. The only thing I have turned off is engine RPM, because I don't like the feeling of the sort of tingly vibration through the wheel. Makes my fingers go a bit numb. And I did flick on road bumps, but I've only just set it onto the default value. I think it's 5% or something like that, and that's it. The rest of it is as Sim Experience via their Sim Commander software. I've tested and set it up, and I love it. It feels really communicative, communicative. You know, I can feel the bumps, the curbs, the difference between a sausage curb and a sawtooth curb. It's all coming. Ooh. Especially when you hit one as hard as that. It jolts the wheel, pushes you off track. But it's all there, it's got a nice weight to it. You know, I can tell. I oversteer, understeer. It's all coming through the wheel as I would expect it to do, in line with, I suppose, in line with iRacing, really. You know, if I had to compare it, but really that's because iRacing is my go-to sim. It's the title that I play the most, so it's the one I've got the most experience force feedback wise. But I feel, just feels similar. It feels just got that, you know, what I feel in iRacing, how I react to iRacing's force feedback. I get the same in this title, but you know, again, it all depends on what hardware you've got, what other sim titles you play a lot of, you know, how it feels and reacts to you. But to me, I like it. It works for me, but I am no alien. You know, I'm just one of your average mid-pack racers, so I can only tell you how it feels to me. What I do like though is the braking. You've really got to give that pedal a hefty stomp on the initial braking, and then you naturally want to just ease back as you get as the car slows down, as you get nearer and nearer to the turn-in point. And again, it feels natural. You can feel the car. Well, not necessarily feel the car, but you can sort of what you see the car doing on track and where it is on track compared with what you're putting in input-wise via the brake pedal. All lines up. It all feels right. That's the best way I can sum it up. Just, you know, I'm not the world's most technically minded sim racer, but I do know, for me personally, when something feels right or something feels wrong. And this just feels intuitive, natural. And to me, you know, that's got all the ingredients of just feeling right. Of course, everybody has different hardware configurations. Everybody has different, you know, other sim titles they use. So, of course, everybody's going to have their own opinion. Everybody's going to have their own issues, problems, or things they like or don't like, and they're going to be different to mine. But I have not regretted jumping on the early access bandwagon. I came in right from build 1, so what did I pay? It's either 19 or 24 euros. Yeah, roughly about half the price the final game is going to be. Yeah, it's going to be when it gets bunged into the inevitable Steam sales. But I've had a ton of fun with every build. I've never had any real major gripes or performance issues with it, but you know, as I spoke about first, I have got my frustrations about using this title with VR before you get out on track. Once you've got rid of all the menus and stripped out all the HUD and just got down to you, the car and the track, I love it. and I cannot wait to see what the full build is going to be like. You know, the multiplayer side is fully rolled out and all properly baked in. I know this release was delayed because they rewrote a lot of the multiplayer code because they wanted to change the sort of the base code, because they've could see that was what they had was going to cause issues with future ideas and projects on the multiplayer side. So, you know, I'm glad they took their time to rewrite that and do it now. You know, it's not the end of the world that it was a couple of weeks later than planned. But by doing what didn't quite break enough there. But if it helps make sure that the final game is better and has a more realistic chance of hitting its release date, then yeah, I think it was a good call by the team at Kunos. Okay, well, I think I've rambled on enough now. I've covered the bits of it of this new build and ACC in general that I wanted to. The VR, force feedback, the general level of performance, and what I think about the early access so far. I will get stuck into some race action so we can see how the AI are getting on. I have found previous versions that they've been a little over aggressive, a little too a little too overzealous on defending their line or position. You know, and now that does take a little bit of setting up. You know, you have to. I think I had to ramp up the AI strength and then notch down the aggression. I think I was something like 85% strength, 65% aggression. I think that's what I found was about right with build 5. I haven't tried the AI out in this new build, but even then it wasn't quite as good as other titles. You know, I quite like Race Room. I think their AI has come on leaps and bounds. You know, you've got your class leaders, your automobilistas and your R Factor 2s, you know. Their AI is spookily human-like, but you know, we'll have a race, we'll have a try, you know, early access. Hopefully they're listening to community feedback, and you know, things like AI routines. We'll see, you know, we'll see an improvement or a reworking ready for the final release, and the general public go for it. And hopefully the single player experience will be just as good as the multiplayer experience is due to be, if we believe the hype. Right, well, I think I'm going to call that a day. This has been Jason for Pit Lanes Sim Racing, and this has been our look at the latest version of Assetto Corsa Competizione 0.6.1 in VR. And remember to like, share, comment, and keep an eye out for even more sim racing content coming very soon. See you out on the track, and remember, race hard, but race fair.